What's up, everybody? And welcome back to my channel, Audrey B. And you are tuning in for another episode of the Abbott Elementary recap. So, y'all know what I always say. Let's get into the review. Alright, y'all, so this episode, it really wasn't like a whole lot going on, if you ask me, but it was still a very good episode. I loved it. Of course, y'all know this is my show. Janine's my girl. I love the whole crew. So this episode is episode 6, and it was titled Gifted Program. Now, why was it titled Gifted Program? It is because there was a student who came from I guess like a private school, a very like bougie type of school where, you know, it was all these children with all types of high IQs and intelligence, very super smart. So there was a little boy by the name of Malcolm who came in, and Ava was just like doting about him, just kept on singing out how smart he was, how she was like honored to have him at the school, how this was like he was going to be so much smarter than all the other kids in her school. And she was introducing him to, I think, Barbara and Janine, and saying how gifted he was, basically. And but Janine, she was talking about how she was in a gifted program when she was in school, and how she really enjoyed it. And then in comes George, and, you know, he was just kind of like, you know, gifted program, whoop-de-doo, you know, not really all high in energy. And so with them talking about the little boy, Malcolm, and how smart he was or whatever, they cut to his like confessional, and he's like, I'm basically here, or maybe he told them, he said basically he was there because his parents wanted him to be around more black kids. Now, I thought that was funny because we all know that a lot of these like private schools can sometimes be predominantly white, and so I know some parents especially feel like their kids are missing out on the culture. So, you know, sometimes that does happen. They get pulled out of the school just to get that type of, you know, see more people like them. Which, I mean, to me, there's not anything wrong with that. I'm a product of public schools, and, you know, all the schools that I've ever gone to are, you know, we're pretty much mixed, you know, with all type of cultures and ethnic backgrounds and races. So, I mean, it's all about what you put into it, basically, is how I feel. So then, like I said, Janine gets this idea that they at Abbott Elementary should offer a gifted program for the students, and that they should find a teacher to teach. And, you know, per Ava, she was like, girl, there's nobody to teach this class. Like, who's going to teach? Y'all are going to be in our classroom, and we got money for it, but I'm not dishing it out just to be, for it to just basically just be a mess. And, so, you know, they go on about that. Then it switches to the break room where Barbara and Melissa are in there talking, you know, just regular chatting, you know, about whatever. And in comes a delivery man. I think his name was either Gary or Jerry. Like, Melissa was calling him Jer. I was hearing Gare. I don't know. Excuse me if I didn't get it right. But anyways, like, you could tell that there was like some type of flirtation, some type of like chemistry going on between them. But and Barbara was picking up on it too, and she was basically like, girl, he like you. Like, you need to shoot your shot. You need to do what you need to do and get his number. Y'all need to hang out. And Melissa's like, no, I'm too old for that. Like, I've already been married. I already got a divorce. I don't want to get into that dating scene or whatever. And she was like, girl, you don't know what you're missing. And Melissa was just like, no, I'm good. So then we see where Janine basically is walking down the hallway. She sees that Jacob is pretty much not doing anything during this particular amount of time. He's just over there messing with the custodian. So she's like, hey, he would be a great candidate to teach the gifted program during his free time. And I'm like, free time? Y'all got free time at Abbott Elementary? That's what's up. And for those of you who don't know what free time is, or free period, is just basically a period where I can say for pre-K, when the students are taking a nap, and the assistants are in the classroom, that teacher has time to go off into somewhere else for an allotted amount of time to plan, to call parents, to handle paperwork, all of that stuff. Like, it's just a spot where the teachers have a chance to do something, and either the kids aren't in the room, or the classroom is covered by somebody else. So she sees Jacob in his free time, or his free period, and she's like, he's a good volunteer. Like, she basically volunteered him, like, you are going to do this. And of course he agreed, because he didn't see anything wrong with it, and he thought it would be a good time to kind of hone in on his teaching, and I guess he felt like he was the man for the job. And so he was just like, they told Ava was like, she was on board. And so we go back to Mel and this delivery driver, and she basically shoots her shot, like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a chance, like, we should go out to eat, like, you should take me out to dinner, basically. And he's like, yeah, what's up, let's go to Dave and Buster's. And she was like, pump the brakes, no, no thank you, I got something to do, my bad. And then he was kind of looking crazy, and then Barbara was like, why would you do that, like, what? And then we see that she basically did it because she was like, for him offering Dave and Buster's instead of some other type of restaurant for them to go and get to know each other a little better and talk, that it was like a red flag for, like, basically like a loser type, and she don't got time for that, which I get it, but at the same time, sometimes you just can't always go with your preference or what you want, sometimes you just gotta take that leap of faith, like Barbara said, and see what it is. And if it don't work, it just don't work out, but if it does, then kudos to y'all. And so she declines, just like, you know what, never mind. And he's like, well, okay, and then keeps it moving. And then we see, once they come back from commercial, like, Jacob is teaching this gifted class about, like, the reproductive system, or the reproduction of a chicken. And, they had the poster, and he's rapping and all this other stuff with his lesson. And Janine and her class is walking down the hallway, and they're like, chickens. And then she realizes, like, they noticed, the gifted program or whatever. And they're standing in the door because the chicken is about to, hatch the egg. And they're all like, oh my gosh, I want to be in here in the chicken class. Like, I want to do this. I want to be in this class. Like, I'm smart, Miss Tiggs. Like, why can't I be in here? And we see that her facial expression changed, because she was just kind of like, probably, I feel like she was thinking, like, dang, like, I decided to come up with this gifted program, not realizing that it would make the other kids feel as though, like, they're not good enough, or maybe, like, they're not smart enough. So I'm pretty sure she didn't even really want to have that type of separation. But sometimes that is how these things end up. Like, I remember growing up, like, I was always, especially in middle school and high school, I was always in, like, honors classes. So it was just, like, basically, like, people just felt like, we thought we were smarter than. And to be all the way real, I was just like, I might have had the grades, but especially when it came to math, homegirl, it was a struggle bus. But it was just like I guess like a respect factor. Like I said, you could tell that there was like a division between what you would call like the regular classes and the honor classes. But I mean, pretty much everybody got along, so it wasn't too bad, you know what I'm saying? So but yeah, so she saw that her class was kind of like, well, dang, like, what I gotta do to be in here? Like, what makes them so special, basically? And with elementary school age, some kids might understand it and some kids might. So, and I guess that's, like I said, that's why her facial expression kind of changed. Like, I didn't mean for them to not feel special, so what can I do to fix it? And so then we see that she decides to go talk to Mel, like, hey, like, my kids, I want to teach them about, well, not Mel, I'm sorry. She wanted to talk to Ava, and she was like, hey, I want my kids to, feel special as well. They want to learn about chickens, and, is there a way that, you can get them the same type of material and the eggs and all of that stuff for my class? And she was like, girl, no, that money is reserved for the smart ones. I'm not spending my time on it. And so she was just like, whatever. So we see that she goes to Mel and basically, hey, can you hook us up? Like, I need you to give me some eggs. There's a chicken that's going to hatch so my class can have them, so everybody can feel good, feel special, feel like they're getting, this cool opportunity as well. And she was like, yeah, you my girl, I got you. So then we cut to lunchtime with, again, Melissa and Barbara, and we get introduced to Barbara's man, Gerald. And they were having lunch, and she's basically like trying to convince Mel, like, look, you're however old, you may have been married and ended up getting a divorce, but that shouldn't, make you be reluctant to find love again, or just, get in the dating scene and just see where things go. Like, you should really give, I'll keep calling him the delivery driver, a chance. And she's like, no. And then we see that, like I said, we get introduced to Barb's man, Gerald, and she's like, he was nothing like he is now. When I met him, he was a player, he was a ladies' man, but after a while, he changed. And she was just like, and now here we are. And she's like, you know what, I really don't know. I really don't know if I want to do this, and I'm not feeling it. Like, I'm content with how my life is now. And, there's plenty of ladies, young, older, who feel that same way. But at the end of the day, everybody deserves a chance at love, whether it's a second chance, first chance, third, fourth, 10th. You know what I mean? So I was kind of like, I hope she does, because they were, like I said in the beginning, they were flirting, getting along. They see each other every Thursday, so it's just like, let's a little budding romance. It would have been really cute. So then we see that those eggs that Melissa done got are hatching in the classroom. And mind you, I didn't mention this when Janine told her to hook her up with somebody that can get her these eggs that will hatch. She was like, give me a week. So I guess they fast forwarded it to a week. And she's in the middle of teaching, and the kids are like, Miss Tees, the eggs are hatching. Now, mind you, they all think that these are chickens. But then everybody goes over there, and the kids start describing, like, what the eggs look like. It's liquidy, it's this, it's that, and she's not really paying attention, but she's like, oh, it should be this, or it should be that. Come to find out, y'all, they done hatched snakes. So she's freaking out, the whole class is freaking out. And then we see that these snakes that Melissa done got are extinct. So they're the people that came, I guess, like pest control or whatever. They was just like, how'd you get these? Like, and she was like, came up with some type of lie or whatever. And so, after all of this, basically, Mel decides again to shoot her shot at the delivery driver. She's like, hey, I'm sorry for turning you down, but I would love to get to know you better. But even before that, she did make a phone call, and we heard that it was her ex-husband, who basically was just like giving her a pep talk and encouraging her, like, look, we were young, we went through what we went through, but that still shouldn't stop you from doing what you need to do to get you a new boo. Girl, go get yours. And she was like, oh, okay. So then she goes and shoots her shot, and he's like all ecstatic and excited about it, and they're gonna meet up and go to a restaurant, and they're gonna have fun. And Barb was like, see, I told you. So she felt kind of good about that. It was really sweet. And then in the midst of all of this, though, once Janine realized, the kids were like, they want to feel special too. She basically is like, hey, I didn't mean for it to happen. So what can we do to fix this? Like, I don't want anybody to feel separated. I don't want the kids to feel like these kids are more special or more important than they are. So she went to like Greg and Jacob, and they all basically was just like trying to come up with different solutions, as she always does, to make it better. And she decided that they can have the gifted program, but instead of just singling them out, like, for these kids get something special on this particular day, let all the kids get something special on that particular day, so that, they will understand, like, nobody is higher or better than the other. And even after when she was coming up with that, she understood that it made it more clear to her and understand how the kids felt, because, George basically told her, like, when he was younger, he wasn't able to get into the gifted program, and it made him feel like, if you're not good at taking tests, if you don't get the grades, like, you're not you're not special. And everybody always focused on those gifted people. And he mentioned somebody, I didn't get the name, but he basically said, like, hey, I learned that this particular person said that there are basically levels to this. Like, just because this person is gifted in math doesn't mean that everybody else is not. It means that everybody is basically gifted in all type of ways. Like, this person may be gifted in arts, and this person may be gifted in math, this person may be gifted in science, and so on and so on. And just basically, highlighting, as I like to say all the time, highlighting the strengths of all the kids, and not just focusing on one particular group, to allow everybody to feel special, to allow everybody to feel like they belong. And that's very, very, very important. And I really, really agreed with that. Because like I said, if you ask me, I don't really feel like I belonged in those classes, because when it came to math, and taking tests in math particularly, your girl was like not good. And my teachers in high school and middle school used to, hand out the test and would give, the grade, the highest grade on the test, like Snicker bars or candy or a bag of chips or something like that. And they, how, I can really remember in 11th grade, one of the teachers, he had like, everybody knew when we took a test and then we got our grades back, the first few people that he called were the ones who made the lowest grades. And I was always like one of those people, or in the middle. And it was just like, it was just like, test taking, blah, 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 blah. And I feel like even now, when all these like tests that public schools and even some private schools may have, I feel like it doesn't really show them anything when it comes to the kids. Like, kids are gifted in all type of areas. And like I said, we always just need to highlight that. So like I said, I feel like Greg did something with that. And so, like I said, she had that light bulb go off, and that's when they came to Abbott and was basically like, hey, like, let's do something for everybody, which she agreed, also because she was irritated by Malcolm, the new student, because he basically clocked her, like, basically was like, you don't do nothing. You're just like a big kid. You don't do nothing. And she was just like, okay, you're a little too smart for your own good. Get out of my face. Because she was like loving on him at first. So then, after that, we see that Greg and Janine are ending their day together by walking in the parking lot to their cars. And, they're talking, and she's like, hey, sorry that as you were growing up, like, you really didn't feel special. Sorry that you didn't feel special. Sorry that you were made to feel like you weren't as good as everybody else. And from then on, he was just like, oh, thanks. And, as I said in the first recap of this show, that I feel like there's going to be some type of romance there. And then, we caught him, staring off into space with Janine. And then, while she was walking away, just like, kind of like looking at her, like adoring her, like, oh, I like her. And then once that was over, Janine was kind of doing the same thing. And then she looked at the camera. She was like, what? So like I said, there's going to be some type of like chemistry there, or there already is. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen, because they're becoming closer and he's opening up more. So who knows what's going to happen. But y'all, that's it for my little recap of the show. I thank you guys for watching as always. And just remember, Abbott Elementary, Tuesdays, 9 o'clock on ABC. It's a dope show. I love it. I love it. I love it. And the world seems to be loving it too, because she is everywhere. I've seen it on TikTok. I've seen people do reviews on TikTok. I've seen people talking about it on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Like, I love this show. So make sure y'all tell somebody about it. And I'll see y'all next week for another recap of Abbott Elementary. Peace.